So who is Rocky Adkins? This is Rocky Adkins. Rocky Adkins was born in Moorhead, Kentucky, the same birthplace as Charles Manson. Rocky Adkins is currently the House Minority Leader, so he is the leader of the Democrats in the House, because both houses in Kentucky have super Republican majorities. So Rocky Adkins has been the House representative for his district since 1987. So for 32 years, 2021 is when his term ends. For 32 years, he's been a House representative, and he runs every 2 years. So how is that not a perennial candidate? So Rocky Adkins, he's got some interesting views. Well, let's talk about the poll first, okay? So there's only been one poll that has come out, maybe two, but they didn't put Jeff Young's name on it, so we have no idea what the hell is going on. Why? There's only 4 candidates. Why would you discriminate against one? If there's 21 candidates, I can understand, but 4? So Rocky Adkins had polled at 17%, Baby Brashear 55%, Adam Edelin 7%, undecided. The poll was ran by the Garen Hart Yang Research Group February 10th, 2019. So Baby Brashear was winning by 55%, and Rocky Adkins was second. Even though it looks like, in terms of how things feel, it feels like Adam Edelin may win this thing, but he's got 7%. Undecideds were 21%. If you added the undecideds to Adkins, that's still just 38%. That's still under Brashear's 55. So if you take the polls to mean what they used to mean, then Baby Brashear's got this thing in the bag. He doesn't need to really do, any other thing besides just carry his name all the way to the end. 603 Kentuckians were asked, what they thought in that poll. So they're already railroading Jeff Young, right? There will be a Jeff Young effect, and I think the Jeff Young effect will get Adam Edelin elected. Kentucky would be awesome with Young as governor, but they would also improve with Edelin. They may say Young is too radical, but see Edelin as liberal and feel it's centrist. So if Jeff Young is the radical and then Brashear is the conservative, then Edelin will come in as the centrist. So my prediction for the Democrats is that Adam Edelin will win because of the Jeff Young effect. And for the Republicans, Matt Bevin's going to win just, because he's Matt Bevin, right? So the Jeff Young has a war chest of $55,000. He's only spent $3,000. Rocky Adkins has $1.5 million in the bank. Andrew Brashear for the campaign. Andrew Brashear, $1.9 million. Adam Edelin, $2.4 million. By media standards, Adam Edelin has already won $2.4 million. He's already spent $1.8 million. He's got the most money. That's all that matters in modern American politics. Those who have more money can buy more TV ads, so therefore they will win. They will win just because they got more money. It doesn't matter if they got better policies. It doesn't matter if they would be a better governor. You got more money, well, get the hell on in there. That's all we needed. You got more money? Okay, well, you get the governor's chair. No, you get the governor's chair. Rocky4Kentucky.com is his website, Rocky4Kentucky. So Rocky Adkins is going to protect the state pensions for the teachers, public employees, first responders, the judges, the millionaire judges. He's going to make sure they get their pensions. The legislators, right, make sure the legislators get their pensions. So just like Robert Goforth, Rocky Adkins is anti-charter schools because it drains from the pool of cash for public education. So Robert Goforth and Rocky Adkins are the exact same when it comes to public education. They don't believe in a balance between some public education and some charter schools. They say, no, it's only one way, and it's just state public schools. That's all we're going to do. Rocky Adkins wants to invest in water, internet, transportation, infrastructure. All of these things sound nice, right? Rocky Adkins, he graduated undergraduate, graduated from Moorhead State University. He's a Baptist Christian, so he's Protestant, probably looks down on the Catholics, and he does something with Appalachian Fuels. He runs it, owns it, does something with... No, Rocky Adkins is a perennial candidate. He's well liked. He was reelected back into his seat with a 66% approval rate. I actually enjoyed Greg Stumbos and Rocky Adkins back and forth during the legislative sessions. It seemed to be chummy and fun while they're also doing important work of passing new laws for Kentucky. Rocky Adkins says, I grew up in rural Kentucky. I was the son of a school teacher and a grocery clerk, and I learned the value of hard work on my family's farm. I'm a proven leader who will always stand up and fight for working families. I know how to work across the aisle to get things done. I've proven repeatedly as the House of Democrat floor leader. So, okay, fantastic. The idea of appealing to Republicans during a Democrat primary, I don't think you understand elections whatsoever. You're not going to get a single Republican vote in the Democrat primaries. So this is verbatim, Rocky Adkins. I am the only candidate who is at the forefront of expanding access to health care, who stood up to oppose legislation. I am the only candidate to stand up against legislative cuts to education and pensions, who led the way in securing investments in energy research and tourism that have created jobs across the state. I'm a cancer survivor. I understand the pain. I understand the pain and cost of an unexpected illness. I know what it's like to be laid off because of the declines in the coal industry. I know the challenges facing Kentuckians in a way no one else in this race does. Expanding Medicaid was a game changer for Kentucky that has saved lives, improved our collective health, and pumped billions of dollars into our economy. Expanding Medicaid isn't only a health care policy, it's an economic development issue that supports the health care industry across our state, including our rural hospitals. Access to affordable health care lowers costs to people, hospitals, and Kentucky. I will look for ways to invest more in expanded care, not spending. I guess the tone actually does sort of change what it sounds like. So he's in favor of expanding health care, good. He's for education, pensions, fun. He isn't, against Medicaid. He's very much for Medicaid. He says it's also an economic development, and he thinks that when you take the health insurance away from 100,000 Kentuckians, you're not just hurting those 100,000 Kentuckians, but more importantly, you're hurting the businesses. They need money. The doctors need money. So if those 100,000 Kentuckians which need help don't have insurance, well, how are the doctors going to make any money? Rocky Adkins wants more 21st century jobs like those in the aerospace industry and other high-demand sectors. To our state, aerospace exports brought in more than $12 billion to Kentucky in 2018. This means opportunity for Kentuckians. Kentucky is uniquely positioned to take advantage of this growing sector because it is training the workforce. Right now, we must offer even more job training and affordable post-secondary education opportunities so people gain the skills necessary. Hey guys, we need to attract new businesses and industries that provide a living wage. When we look at raising the minimum wage in a tiered process with exceptions for small businesses. Let's improve the roads, improve the bridges, build the high-speed internet network of the future. I will work to create the jobs, and provide a fair wage, and spur sustainable economic, in all regions of the Commonwealth. Everyone should have access to health care, not health insurance, just some access to health care. Just go get yourself a little sip of that health care. I'm a cancer survivor. I know firsthand the importance of affordable health care. No Kentuckian should ever have to delay care or make the tough decision between purchasing prescription medication or paying their electric bill. He will make sure that the pillbillies get the Oxycontin and Percocet and Vicodin that they need. I believe we also must make medical marijuana legal. It already is. Oh, boy, that's so courageous. Medical marijuana. Well, who make medical marijuana legal because of the diseases that it helps. It's time we make voting easier with extended early voting and automatic registration. Lastly, I will jumpstart our workforce, create new career paths for Kentuckians with free community college and job training. Rocky Adkins has been in the state government for quite some time. He would be the number 3 or number 4 guy, frankly, for me. I'm going to vote for Jeff Young, number 1. If I had to vote for number 2, that's what ranked elections would be, right? So you have to respect each other, all the candidates, which is why you'll never see instant runoff voting in Kentucky. But if I had number 2, I would pick Adam Edelin, and then Baby Brashear, and then I would pick Rocky Adkins last. So he's not very inspiring. He says all the talking points of, liberal Democrats, but it just has a conservative feel overall. It just seems like he's just, speaking out of both ends of his mouth. He's already going to rush, to work across the aisle, right? And then he's talking about universal health care. Well, they don't even want universal health care, so what's the compromise there? Let's just cut 50,000 Kentuckians off of health care. Let's just cut 200,000 Kentuckians off of. A lot of times when people go through it themselves, then they understand, but you can have empathy without actually having to go through it yourself. I've never had cancer, but I know that being sick and unwell is not fun. Whether it's heart disease, whether it's obesity, whether it's cancer, whether it's diabetes. I mean, the diabetes is bad. I mean, if you get diabetes, what are you going to do with, you got diabetes and then you get, okay, so he's, talking about getting a high-speed internet network of the future. Is it going to be free? Is any of this going to be free? And if you're going to have to, get the lobbyists and the millionaires and the Republicans on board, you're not going to be able to do it. So you're going to have to believe in these issues, and you're going to have to push it through without, by yourself if you have to, and just stand in splendid isolation. So if you really give a shit about the poor, you really give a shit about the health care, you really give a shit about all the, expanded internet and the aerospace industry, he's being taken serious because he's a state rep. But he's been in there for 30 years. And so to Rocky Adkins, how come you haven't fixed any of this shit for 30 years? Medical marijuana, wasn't that a Gatewood idea? He's got a lot of good ideas, right? He's got automatic registration, extended early voting, but he's not talking about instant runoff voting. He's not talking about a paper trail. He's not talking about a written ballot. He's not talking about, any democracy, no initiatives, no referendums. So it's nothing like Colorado. In Colorado, I'm drowning in democracy. So Kentucky barely has democracy. On election day, you're supposed to go out and vote, so you get a burst of democracy, and then that's it. You're not required to do anything else. In Colorado, you can recall the bastards, and not to mention, you can pay attention and do. So there's just so many more tools in Colorado. You have initiative, a referendum, recall, and you have, just so much more here. The written ballots, they have not automatic registration, they have same-day registration. So automatic registration means when you get a driver's license and you're going to go ahead and get registered to vote automatically. And so these are good ideas. They're good ideas, but he's been in there for how long? He knew who Gatewood was. So he's just sitting there saying, I'm going to make medical marijuana legal. That's not good enough for me. CBD is already legal. What the fuck are you talking about? You're still parsing your words, and you're a right-wing. Lastly, just like Robert Goforth, I'm not anybody to talk to. So I feel like, if they're not, they have busy schedules, I'm sure, but for them to be so far out of, touch with the common man, do they even know what the hell's going on? Do they even know what the hell we need? So I called Rocky Adkins. Logan picked up. He was courteous and professional, said he'd get back to me, never did. So he makes promises, right, that he can't keep. And all I was doing was just saying, do you believe in this policy? Do you believe in that policy? So I bet you if you actually were to look at him closer, I bet you there's a lot of contradictions there. And he'll say, well, I didn't say medical marijuana. I said decriminalize. No, I didn't say decriminalize. I said keep it illegal. No, I didn't. Which is it, man? Which is it? You've been in there for 32 years. Did you introduce bills for all this? What's this plan for internet for everybody? You're going to get, poles and up for everybody in Appalachia? You're going to help everybody get laptops? No, nothing on the individual level. You're just going to run a program, and that program's going to just, shoot Kentucky straight up to the top. So he's been brainwashed at the typical old-style politics that has a